You ever wake up to the sound of bulldozers and think, that can't possibly be happening on my land? That's exactly how I felt one morning when I looked out over the ridge of my 2,000-acre farm and saw a construction crew tearing through my fields like they owned the place. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The day everything changed. My name's Clay Granger. My family's been working this land for 5 generations. We grow everything from soybeans to corn to alfalfa, and we run a few hundred head of cattle too. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. And it's mine. Every inch of it. That morning, I hopped on my ATV and rode down to the site. What I saw made my jaw drop. 6 bulldozers, 3 survey crews, and a line of heavy equipment were parked right in the middle of my pasture, and smack in the middle stood a smug-looking woman in a hard hat and heels, barking orders like she was a general in battle. "You're trespassing," I said calmly. She didn't even blink. "You must be the old farmhand. We've got permits from the HOA. You'll need to clear out by the end of the week." Old farmhand? Lady didn't even recognize the owner of the land she was flattening. They thought they were above the law. Turns out, the Pine Hollow Estates HOA, led by a power-hungry president named Mitchell Crane, had decided to expand their fancy gated community. But instead of buying land legally, they relied on some outdated, fraudulent plat maps and assumed an unincorporated chunk of land was unclaimed. Only it wasn't unclaimed. It was mine. I had the deeds, mineral rights, and water rights, all registered and sealed at the county courthouse. They'd already bulldozed 600 acres of prime cropland, destroyed fencing, and dumped concrete where I was set to rotate cattle next week. What they didn't know. Now here's where things get interesting. When my grandfather passed, he left me not just the family farm, but quietly he'd also purchased nearly 70% of the land in our rural county over his lifetime. Timber contracts, water rights, mineral leasing, you name it. Over time, I'd acquired the rest. Long story short, I own the entire county. Every public road the HOA uses, mine. The utility easement they run power through, mine. The water wells feeding their community, also mine. They had no idea. Time for the hammer to drop. I went straight to my lawyer. Within 48 hours, we had filed a temporary cease and desist order with the sheriff's department and county court. Construction was halted immediately. Then I turned off the water. Next came the road closures. Since I owned the land the only access road ran through, I had every right to revoke their easement. No more road, no more deliveries, no more trash pickup, no more anything. By week's end, their high-end cul-de-sac paradise looked like a deserted carnival. No electricity, no water, no exit, no landscaping trucks. Mitchell Crane tried to threaten me with legal action, so I handed him a folder full of counterclaims for property destruction, environmental violations, and lost agricultural income. He went pale as limestone. The aftermath. They ended up settling in court for $12.6 million. I used it to restore my land, replant what was lost, and build a water treatment system for local farmers. Mitchell resigned. The HOA collapsed under lawsuits from angry residents who had no idea their homes were sitting on legally compromised ground. Eventually, many of them left. Others reached out and made peace. I offered some of them fair lease agreements under my terms. Now I ride my ATV through those fields again, and everything's growing back stronger. My cattle roam free, the creeks run clean, and there's not a bulldozer in sight. Final thoughts. Some people think power means money or big houses or loud lawyers, but real power is knowing your land, protecting your legacy, and making sure no one, no matter how entitled, steals what generations built. Because out here, respect isn't demanded, it's earned.